Welcome to this presentation of Energiekontor. My name is Till Giessmann, and in the following minutes, I want to introduce Energiekontor to you, explain what differentiates us from our competitors, and why Energiekontor is a very attractive investment. In short, what are we doing? Energiekontor is a project developer and independent power producer from renewable energy. Our business is divided in 3 divisions. The first one is the core business, project development and sales. Here we cover the entire value chain from acquisition to commissioning of wind and solar parks and repowering. Whenever a solar or wind park is ready for sale, we approach investors and receive developer fee for selling the park to an investor. 50% of our parks that we develop, we keep for ourselves, and 50% we take in our own portfolio, which is then transferred to the second business division, which you can see in the middle, power generation in the group's own wind and solar parks. Here, we have some attractive wind and solar parks that produce energy, which is sold to the market and thereby giving us recurring revenues from the electricity sale to the market. The third division, operational development and innovation, is also a very important division. Here, we also earn recurring revenues by managing the parks of third parties and our own parks by driving them to operational excellence, increasing efficiency, and trying new innovative methods to increase the outcome of the parks. Here, for example, we developed a rotor blade extension by which we can increase the efficiency and the outcome of a wind park by roughly 5%. Energiekontor is present at 17 sites around the globe. Our core market is Germany, with our headquarter being in Bremen. We have further premises in the various regions of Germany where we are actively projecting new wind and solar parks. Our second largest market is the United Kingdom, where we are present, especially in Scotland, and have obtained and maintained a very attractive project pipeline in the Scottish market. In Portugal, we are present since more than 20 years and have been building wind parks there in the last decade. Currently, we are focusing here on repowering. Since a few years, we have also entered the French market as a very attractive growth market in the future. And here we are present in Rouen, in the north of France, for wind, and in Toulouse, in the south of France, for solar developments. Also, and more recently, we have entered the United States as a new market. Here we are active in South Dakota for wind and in Houston, Texas, for solar plants. The company was founded in 1990, and as you can see, we have more than 30 years experience in renewable energies, so we're truly a pioneer in the energy transition. Currently, we have around 200 employees, and we have been listed on the public stock exchange since May 2000. Since being so long in the market, our track record is quite impressive. As you can see here, we have realized more than 130 wind projects around the world and 12 solar projects. Solar has been a new business segment that we installed since 2010, and our goal is to equalize it as a very important second pillar to the wind segment. In the future, therefore, we expect wind and solar to balance each other. The parks we realized in total have a capacity of more than 1 gigawatt. They have a power generation of 2.5 billion kilowatt per year, which is enough to provide 700,000 households with green energy. That, for example, would be the size of city of Hamburg, assuming that 2 persons are 1 household, just to give an example of how much energy we generate. As I already explained, from the wind and solar parks we project, 50% we keep in our own portfolio. Over the last couple of years, we have increased the parks held in our own portfolio, and now have a park portfolio of 330 megawatts in 36 wind parks and 1 solar park. You can see the regional diversification in the map on this slide. Our target is roughly to increase our own portfolio to 500 megawatts by the end of 2023. As you will later notice, our own portfolio is a very important input into our organic growth model, which I will explain later. What is it that drives us at Energiekontor? Well, we all have a vision here, and the vision is to have a world powered by 100% renewable energy. We want to make a difference and to take an active part in shaping the future of the energy system. That is why we have a goal that is concentrated on cost efficiency. In the short term, we want to realize wind and solar parks that are totally independent of state subsidies. And we have achieved already a lot in this case. We have already, in almost all our markets, realized first parks without any state subsidies. All of our wind parks, for example, in Great Britain, are totally subsidy-free. In Germany, we have already realized solar parks without any state subsidies, mainly via PPAs, that is purchasing power agreements with private companies. In the medium term, we also want to realize wind and solar parks that have generation costs that are substantially below conventional power plants, because we do believe that only when the cost of renewable energy is lower than any other known method to produce energy, their success story will be final, and we will be shaping the future with a clean and sustainable energy. I already mentioned our specific growth model, which is one of the kind in the market. It is an organic growth model, so we are generally not dependent on going to capital markets to ask for funding. As you can see on the left side, you see the two divisions that I explained in the beginning: power generation, our own parks, and operation, development, innovation, and others. Power generation in our own parks gives us recurring revenues from the sale of electricity. In operation, development, innovation, we achieve recurring revenues by managing solar and wind parks, among else, for other parties. These two business segments provide us with cash surpluses that are then used to pay for project development and to cover all of our fixed costs. From project development again, 50% of our parks we sell and 50% we keep in our own portfolio. If we sell a park, the proceeds are taken and are used to pay taxes, to pay the dividend, and are paid out as profit. This organic growth model is one of a kind and gives us special financial stability. As you can see, even if we don't develop any new projects, which is an unlikely case, we will still be able to cover all of our costs. That makes us a very unique and very stable and very sustainable company, also from the financial aspect. In the last financial year 2021, we have been very successful, as you will also see in the numbers that I will present in a later stage of this presentation. Just to give you a short overview, we have commissioned 7 wind parks in Germany and the UK and 2 solar parks with a total generation capacity of 117 megawatt. Just for comparison, the year before it has been 50 megawatt. We have also realized our substantial Scottish project pipeline, which has now come to pay off, because in the last years we have built up substantial projects there, which are now paying off, and we have sold 2 wind parks in 2021 and 1 wind park already in 2022. That is, we already sold 100 megawatt of this new pipeline. We have also added 5 wind and solar parks with a total generation capacity of over 60 megawatt to the market. We have also been able to complete power purchase agreements, for example, with the German industrial direct off-taker, the Robert Bosch GmbH, for the first time. We have also had PPAs in the past, but mainly with off-takers. At the end of 2021, the wind and solar parks under construction, so the parks that will be finished soon, have a total generation capacity of over 100 megawatt, representing the future income of the project development division. Also, we have been able to increase our project pipeline to over 7.7 gigawatt, which is very important because the project pipeline, in fact, tells you something about the ability of our company to build up new projects and new business in the future. Just to give you a broad overview over the last year, which has been a record year for our company, let's look at some of the main figures. Financial year 2021 was especially successful because of the division of project development. We've been able to complete various projects and to sell various projects, among else, via our Scottish project pipeline. These proceeds have led to a substantial increase in EBT and the group result, as you can see below. Growth has been over 40, respectively over 70%. The other 2 segments, which is the electricity production and the management of solar and wind parks for third parties in their own parks, have not performed very well, even though the figures might indicate differently. The main reason for that was a very bad wind year last year, so that the income of these 2 divisions have declined. We are very optimistic that the wind year 2022 will be better and that these divisions will contribute as usual. The good results can also be seen in our balance sheet. As you can see, cash and cash equivalents has increased substantially. The balance sheet total also increased to over 560 million euro. We can also see that the equity ratio remained stable at around 15%, although the balance sheet total increased. This is the case because we took 2 major wind parks on our own portfolio, and we do so at manufacturing costs and do not account for any proceeds we would have achieved if we would have sold them to the market. That is why by taking over parks in our own portfolio, we build up hidden reserves because these parks could easily be sold to the market at attractive prices. A very important part for our business is the future business. The future business is mainly represented by the project pipeline a project developer can build up. We have been able to build up our project pipeline substantially to over 7.7 gigawatt. As you can see, to give an indication how the project pipeline is structured, we have divided it in 4 phases, where phase 1 is the first phase where you look for possible land where you could build up a wind park, where phase 2 is where you have the first planning procedures and hand in the first planning documents, and so forth and so forth. You can see in the column value creation that value creation is increased in every phase of the project pipeline development. The cumulative indicates how much of the park is, so to say, ready. And at the end of phase 5, of course, 100% of the value creation is completed and the park is ready to be sold or to be taken over in our portfolio. There has been substantial interest in the project pipeline of project developers, not least because of a transaction of a project pipeline between RWE and Nordex that has for the first time given an indication on how to value such a project pipeline. Valuation of our project pipeline after that has also increased our share price substantially and is an indication that people value our project pipeline at high numerations. We have also increased the diversification in our project pipeline on the regional side by increasing and entering in countries. As you can see, the main market is still Germany, with being more than 50%, and the UK is the second largest with 30%, but the other markets are already accounting for 8 to 10% of our project pipeline as well. Also, diversification by technology is alongside our strategy to increase the portion of solar. As you can see, 1/3 of our project pipeline is already existing of solar projects. All this, and especially the valuation of our project pipeline, has led to substantial and very nice ratings from research houses, as you can see here. Currently, we're covered by 4 research analysts that all recommend us or our share for a buy. As you can see, the average price the analysts assume for our share, the fair valuation, is over 100 euro, which is a plus of 10% to the current market price of our share. The 5th coverage is currently under preparation, and we're very optimistic that in the second half of the year, it will be published. Let's have a short look on the structure of our share. As you can see, Energiekontor has increased substantially in market cap. The first left picture, you see that our market cap has increased to over 1.3 billion in April 2022. This is mainly an SDAX level and is a result of good fundamentals and a very attractive project pipeline. On the right side, you can see our shareholder structure. You can see that the founders of the company, which are 2 persons, own over 50% of the company. They are very strong anchor investors and provide the company with knowledge and with stability. On the other hand, the free float is around 36%, and we have 2 investors that own between 5 and 7%. These are institutional investors. We also had a share buyback program, which now accounts for 0.9% of the shares. These shares are held by the company itself. Energiekontor also has a very attractive dividend policy. As you can see in the left picture on the slide, Energiekontor has always paid out a very attractive dividend. Even in difficult years in 2018 and 2019, where market has been difficult rather than the company had difficulties, Energiekontor has still paid out a dividend. Energiekontor has a dividend policy that always wants shareholders to participate in the result of the company in a fair way. That is why the very attractive result of last year, financial year 2021, will lead now to a dividend of 19 cents. In the last picture on the slide, on the right below, you can see some indications of the Energiekontor share. That is that the company is listed in the general standard of the stock exchange of Frankfurt, and you can see that 14,100,000 shares roughly are on the market. What are the opportunities and risks for our company in the future, and therefore the outlook for our company? Well, being in the renewable energy business is not the worst you can do these days. Especially policymakers around the world are now pushing renewable energy, especially because they want to get independent from fossil fuels, which is related to the war in Ukraine nowadays. And of course, because climate change is happening and we want to achieve our energy systems that produce climate-friendly energy in the future. In Germany especially, we have now a new government since the end of last year, which has just released a so-called Easter package with numerous items that should foster and booster the development of renewables in the next months. Some of these will also affect our company, of course, because they will lead to faster approval procedures and they will make more land available to build either solar or wind parks on it. Of course, also, the higher energy prices are beneficial to our company because we also, on the other hand, face increases in wind turbines or panels or component parts that are thereby compensated. As you can see, the German government has a policy projection to achieve 100% renewables by the year 2035. That means that in the next coming years, and I will show this in a picture in a later stage, will mean that we have a tremendous demand for renewable energy only in Germany and also in the other countries we are active in. One of the major risks for the future is, of course, the war in Ukraine and all that goes along with it. We do see that we have limited availability delays in the delivery of wind turbines, modules, and components due to impacts on logistics and supply chains. We have also seen an increase in commodity prices, for example, the price of steel, which is used for the towers of the wind turbines, which make the whole wind segment more expensive. Lead times and delivery dates have high uncertainties, so it might be that some projects will experience some delay. Always keep in mind that delays will mean that the park will be finished at a later stage, but it will be finished and sold as contracted. So the revenues will come, but maybe on a later date. Also, we do see that Corona still has an impact at the moment. You can see that the ports in Shanghai and elsewhere in Asia are still suffering from congestion. So also there, the transport, the logistic problem is still present. And also it might be that due to illnesses or other impacts, planning procedures and approval procedures will take longer than they usually do. And they already take some time. For wind, for example, it takes 3 to 7 years from the first planning to really having the park turnkey ready. As I said, the German government is pushing renewable energy, and I just wanted to give you a short example on how this looks. Here you can see the net installment and gross installment of wind energy in Germany and the cumulative capacity that we have built up in Germany over the last couple of years. And as you can see, in 2021, we have added 1.6 gigawatt of wind, or roughly 1.7 gigawatt of wind. And the German government now wants to achieve, in about 5 to 6 years, yearly growth rates of 10 gigawatt, as you can see on the right side of this figure or graph. So the growth rate the government wants to achieve, roughly adding 10 gigawatt per year, are very ambitious. It will take everybody and every company to do its best and to give everything to achieve these rates over the next couple of years. It will be very interesting if we are able to achieve the goal of being totally climate neutral in 2045 and totally sufficient in Germany by renewable energies by 2035. We at Energiekontor will do our best to add to this growth process, and we are very much looking forward to further policies that will especially ease the long duration of the planning procedures. As I explained earlier, our growth is based on an organic growth model. With that growth model, we can achieve EBT growth of 10 to 20% per year. Also in this year, we expect EBT to grow between 10 to 20%. Our medium-term goal is to achieve 55 to 60 million euro EBT by the end of 2023, with roughly 30 million coming from the project development sales and 25 to 30 million coming from the other two divisions, power generation and operational management. This is the organic growth that we can achieve without having to go to the capital markets and increase or ask for funding. Of course, our growth projections for this year, but also for the next year, are subject to substantial risks at the moment. These are the risks I mentioned earlier, and that are especially related to the geopolitical situation and the effect it has on commodity prices and logistics. I do hope that I was able to give you a first impression of our company and to show you why it is very attractive to invest in our company and why especially the market for renewable energy could be very attractive over the next years. For any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact us, and I wish you a very pleasant day. Thank you.
Since you watched this company video until the end, I'm guessing you liked the video. That's probably because we work very hard to create the most engaging and value-added content possible for you. If you're a stock-listed company or corporation and want to find out how we at C11A can make a company video with and about you, please email us at community@c11a.com.